Alright guys, so here we are in the lab, and what I got this time, surprise surprise, is the Olympus OMD E-M5 Mark II. Pretty incredible camera, micro four thirds, so it's got a much smaller sensor than the Sony cameras. What I also got, this is the 75 to 300 millimeter, which will give us an equivalent to 150 to 600 using the 2x crop factor. And then of course I got the 25mm f1.8 lens, so with the 2x crop factor that'll give me approximately 50mm, well exactly 50mm equivalent, and we'll see how that does. So let's take a look at this bad boy, shall we? It's hard to get it out of these bags, believe it or not. Alright, and there she is. First thing is it's lighter and a little smaller than I was expecting. However, it feels really nice. Build quality feels pretty good. I'm liking that. I'll rotate it around. Here's the bottom. Wow. Take a look at the sensor. Woo! That is a tiny sensor. Holy cow. I didn't expect it to be that small. Yeah, that's small. Alright. Well, that doesn't, it's not the size that matters, folks. Alright, so I've been holding this thing for about 1 minute total, and the first thing I notice is how the knobs are incredible. The dampening on this is perfect, and same with the grip. I really like that. Shutter button also feels really nice and dampened very well. It has like a rubber gasket, it looks like, around that for sealing. All these buttons, in fact, are raised up and gasketed and easy to find. You can close your eyes and find them, and they feel really well. I like the feedback you get from all the buttons. Same thing with the dial on the back. There's a switch here, probably for switching AF and using back focus, things like that. Then there's another physical knob over here. This one's much harder to turn, but this is the mode dial. And then you have the on and off switch. Feels good. Then the screen, check the screen out. The screen comes out, and then you can rotate it around, look. Like so. And all the way. Pretty impressive. So you can pretty much do all functions with that screen. That's a nice design. Sony should really pay attention to that. I also like this really aggressive thumb rest here. See that? I mean, that's really aggressive. But it's functional, and that's what's key. A functional, thumb. And it really helps support the camera. And when you combine that with this notch here on the front side, notice this profiled notch? It's really quite perfect. Your thumb and then the notch, you can see how my fingers, it's really nice. And then with weight, you have this upper lip here. It's contoured with a lip right there, which will, help when the torque is going this way from a heavier lens. Really well designed. Notice this on this side. This is where all the ports and stuff are. Got some a mic there, got the HDMI, USB, so forth. On this side here, you have the memory card slot, as you can see. And then on the bottom, you have the door, which opens nice, and you can see again this killer rubber gasket. Everything is sealed, weather sealed nicely. Very good build quality, liking it. And it's easy to shut this door with one hand, no problem there. Alright guys, so here we got my A7R, and here is the OMD E-M5 Mark II, and you can see the size difference, and the A7R is, very similar. It's definitely bigger, it's a little wider, but overall, similar in size. Quite remarkable considering it's full frame. So I just wanted to show you, let me just do a quick once around here, show you the back of both cameras. You can see. Again, very similar. Many more buttons on the OMD, but they do have similar designs, like this. I'll just turn this around, like this. Okay. And the bottoms. So, let me just show you what the sensors look like compared to one another. Alright, so there's the full frame sensor, you could see, versus the micro four thirds. 35mm, versus the micro four thirds. 2x crop factor. So that's what it looks like. Alright, so looking at the accessories a little more closely, Everything's individually bagged up, and what we have here is a USB cable, and it's a different style than everything that I've ever used, so I'll have to use that. Here's the nice Olympus camera strap. It looks really beefy, actually. And what we have here is a power cord for this badass looking charger. And what else we got? Pretty hefty looking battery here, for sure. And on this side, looks like we got a flash unit. Yep, got an accessory flash. Wow, look at this. Powerful looking little unit. Nice. And then there's like a little bag in here. I'm thinking this is for the flash. So that's my first impression wrap up there. So now I'm just going to open these lenses quick and take a look at those. So I'm going to open up this lens first, the 75-300 f4.8 to 6.72, which works out to 150 to 600 when you factor in the crop factor. We got the finger grabbers here, so you can just pull that right out like that. And then you can just, oh, look at this. I really like the way that that's packaged up. Alright, and we got the typical bag to keep the dust and whatnot. Alright, so the lens is pretty heavy. Not too heavy though. A little lighter than I was expecting, I guess. That's the zoom. Feels nice. Nice grip. I like the grip here. And then the focus, the dampening is pretty easy. There it is on the front. Very nice. 58mm. On the back side, that's what she looks like on the back. Nice. Very compact considering the range that you're going to get off a lens like this. So let's check out the other lens, shall we? Here's the other lens. Got my helper Layla here. Alright, so here's the 25mm f1.8. It's very, very lightweight. Extremely lightweight. And the lens cap. Very nice looking lens. You can see the lens coatings. Here's the back of the lens. And wow, the focus dampening feels great. Butter. Butter. Let me mount this guy up to the camera real quick. Alright, so we got the red dot, of course. And there's a red dot on the lens. And I'm just going to mount it up. It's a pretty tight squeeze. I had to turn that pretty hard to get it mounted. But this is weather sealed. So, this is what it looks like with this lens. Very nice. I'm liking that. That looks really good. You have to admit. Come on now. If you're a camera fan, you have to admit this looks awesome. And let me just mount up the other lens. And here's the button to release the lens. So let me just release it. So I was playing around with this lens and I was looking to see how to get the lens hood on. And I noticed that you have to take this ring off. It has like a lens hood ring. Check that out. And now the lens hood, it actually has an arrow. See right there, the arrow? And you just line that up with the white, like so. Now that locks on quite tight, and now the lens has the hood on there, and that's what it looks like with the lens hood. I just wanted to show you that real quick, but I just want to show you what it looks like with this lens mounted. A much bigger lens. And I'll give you my impression of how it feels. Oh yeah, you can see where it mounts. This lens is a little bit easier to mount, just because it's larger, so you get more leverage when you're turning it, but the camera is much larger with this lens. Looks pretty cool. Oh yeah. It's much easier to zoom now that it's attached to something. Alright, well, I like the way it feels. I think I'm going to have a good time using these two lenses on this camera. Look at all these buttons. It's got an HDR button there. Come on, that's going to be fun. All these other buttons, movies, mode, scene, art, auto, function buttons out the wazoo. This should be a good time, guys. So stay tuned. See what this Olympus E-M5 Mark II can do. All right, later.